Hello, welcome to this week's How's the Market Pensacola, where we go over nothing but real estate data. I don't give you any fluff. I'm not going to give you any sales pitch. I'm just going to let you have the numbers in front of you so you can make a decision for you and yours. It's Cinco de Mayo. Let's go.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there. And
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth? All right, so I hope that you get too margaritaed downtown on Cinco de Mayo. There was a lot of people down there. I had a friend of mine ask me to go out on the boat, and Fort McRae we picked on his wife a little bit because she was like, I don't think it's that busy as we came around the back end, but when we came around the front end, yeah, it was kind of tough to even find a spot. But we picked on her a little bit. It was fun, though. We had a good time, but I know there was a lot of people downtown doing quite a bit of Cinco de Mayo festivities. I think Cactus Cantina actually opened up on Palafox. And so they were operating. I know Taco Agave was crazy right there behind World of Beer. And if you haven't had a margarita over there, they make it with actual agave. Yeah, that's pretty good. We're not going to talk about margaritas, though. I promise. We're going to talk about real estate. All right. I am going to go over this same slide that I go over every week. This is the first slide that I always talk about. So we'll get down to my computer here. If we talk about anything between 6 to 7 months worth of inventory, it's considered a neutral market. Anything less than 6 months is considered a seller's market. Anything greater than 7 months is considered a buyer's market. Now, why is that important? Because we have all three of those. It just depends on price points. That's what we go over every week. I want to know what price points you're in so that you know how to market it. Plus, as a buyer, you know how if you have to be a little more aggressive. I had some buyers today. We put in a contract over the weekend. And the sellers came back a little more aggressive, and I actually showed them some of this data that the price point they were at was a hyper seller's market. So what the sellers were offering was actually not that bad. All right, let's get over to, let's see which county we're going to do first. Nope, not that. Let's do Escambia County first. Escambia County first. So over here on the left is the price points. So that is what you're listed for. Over on the right is the month's worth of inventory. So that's why if this is the first time you're watching the show, that's why that first slide always comes into play. So anywhere between 0 and 200,000 is a hyper seller's market. Anything under 200,000 a hyper seller's market. So that couple I was telling you about that actually just looks like we got a deal together. This was the price point they were at, between 150 and 200,000. There's 2 months worth of inventory. If you're just listening to this on the podcast, I'll rattle these numbers off real quick. But under 50,000 is less than a month. Between 50 and 100,000 is 2.1 months. Between 100 and 150,000, 1.6 months. And between 150 and 200,000, 2 months. So all of that is a hyper seller's market, because anything under 3 months is a hyper seller's market. Anything over 9 months is considered a hyper buyer's market. So keep that in mind. Between 200 and 350 still looks like a seller's market. 200 and 350 still looks like a seller's market, ranging anywhere from 3.2 months to 4.7 months. In Escambia County, between 350 and 450, that is a neutral market. That's between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory. What does that mean? As a seller, you've got to differentiate. As a buyer, you could be a little more aggressive with how you write your offers. Okay, if somebody's asking 350, you may be able to knock a couple of percentages off or pay attention to it. Here's this pocket, though. This pocket has been this way for the last 5 or 6 episodes. In Escambia County only, we don't see this pocket in Santa Rosa County. Between 450 and 500, we have 10.3 months worth of inventory. That puts it as a hyper buyer's market. So yes, is real estate hot right now? We hear that all the time. Real estate's hot right now. It's smoking. Yeah, well, that's because you're not paying attention. There are some areas, and right now between 450 and 500, that's a hyper buyer's market. So if you're in that price point, pay attention to it, and if you get an offer, you may have to negotiate something. You may not be able to hit exactly what you're looking for. Now, it's not something, way out there, okay? I had a property that we've got for listed right now at $500,000, and we got an offer at like 410, 420. It was either 410 or 420. I don't know. It was one of those. That's a little too aggressive. All right, we shouldn't see that. But can you get a little aggressive if they're at 475? Could you maybe offer 460, 455? Yeah, maybe, because they do have some options there. So you have a lot of properties you can look at. Between 5 and 550, neutral market. If you remember last week, that was actually tipped slightly to the seller's market. It's tipped to even now. So pay attention to that. That's tipped to even now. And then anything over 550 in Escambia County is a hyper buyer's market. We've got a year's worth of inventory between 550 and 600, slightly under a year's worth of inventory between 6 and 650, over 2 years worth of inventory between 650 and 700. And if you get 700 plus, we've got right at 2 years inventory. So again, this is an actual normal, robust market right now, but Escambia County still has this little pocket between 450 and 500. Let's go take a look now at Santa Rosa County. See where they're sitting. All right, so here we go. If you remember, Escambia County at 0 to 200 is a hyper seller's market. Santa Rosa County, again this week, comes from 0 to 250 as a hyper seller's market. So 0 to $250,000 is 2.4 months down to 0.3. So yeah, we have 0.3 in the 0 to 50 because the number of active properties between 0 and $50,000 in Santa Rosa County, uno. I'm trying to do my Spanish for Cinco de Mayo. Uno. Numero uno. There's one property. That's it. That's all there is. And if I were to guess, it's probably a lot. So that one has very little inventory, but even the 100 to 150 has under a month's worth of inventory. So there's a strong appetite for that price point. What does that mean as a seller? That means you can be a little more aggressive. You know, if I got called out the other day for a property in Santa Rosa County, we thought it was right at about 230 is what the comps came in at. We actually put it on the market at 242. Got some offers. Okay, I can't really go into details on the offers because we are under contract but hadn't closed yet, but I'll tell you about it when we can. But needless to say, that's a little more aggressive, and we're not seeing that much of an appraisal issue as long as you don't get crazy with it. Again, if I just said 230 but I put it on at 290, now we're going to see an appraisal issue. So you can be a little more aggressive. I sold a house out there last month. We sold it for 184. Property was only bought 2 years ago for 150 something. So you've seen some nice appreciation out there. Anyways, anything under 250 is a hyper seller's market. 250 to 300 is at the verge of being a hyper seller's market because it's only got 3 months worth of inventory. So anything under 300,000 in Santa Rosa County is pretty aggressive. And if you look, there's a little bit of inventory between 3 and 350, but it's still a seller's market. It's only 4.8 months. 350 to 400, we go back down to 3.5 months. So again, we're creeping up on that hyper sellers, but these definitely lean towards the seller's side, if that makes sense. And then 4 to 450, we got 5.2 months worth of inventory. Between 450 and 500, it's considered a neutral market, 7.1 months worth of inventory. And 500 to 549, you're starting to see a hyper buyers. This is new this week because this was 8 something last time. We've actually seen a little more inventory. So if you're going between $500,000 and 550, understand as a seller, you're going to have to differentiate. And as a buyer, you can be a little more aggressive. As a seller, you need to understand that not only are you going to have to differentiate, you're going to have to negotiate. Okay, so those things need to make sense. 550 to 600, we got 7.1 months worth of inventory. And then again, 6 to 650, 9.4, so hyper buyers. Between 650 and 700, we have 3 years worth of inventory. So the appetite for this right now is only about 4 houses because there's 12 houses active. But we're at 3 years worth of inventory. So about 4 houses a year is about the only appetite in Santa Rosa County for 650 to 700. And top 700, we're at 10.9 months worth of inventory. So again, all of those are hyper buyers side. So that's what I got for you this week. These are just the numbers. Like I said, I'm only out here to tell you the truth. I'm not here to give you any fluff. I'm not here to try and give you a sales pitch. Just show you raw data. That way you can make a decision for you and yours. Do me a favor. If it brought any value, if this video brought you any value, hit like, hit comment, hit share, please. If you're watching on Instagram, hit double tap, what have you. All right. It helps me get the word out. Leave me some comments. Tell me what you think. Is there anything you would like else to know that can help you just with raw data on how the market is doing in real estate in both of our 2 counties? Hope you enjoyed this week's show. Have a great week. Boy, that weather outside is great, isn't it? We'll see you next week.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there. And
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth.
On a mission.
don't you just want the truth?